When a man faces death, his startling revelation unveils WW3 with Jesus. Everyone. In the midst of uncertainty surrounding Korea's reunification and a world that seems a bit shaky, our storyteller maintains a strong belief in his unique experience. During these uncertain times, he shares his story with the intent of offering hope. Let's delve into it. Starting a near-death experience story about the world's future is a question he's pondered for over 3 decades, particularly in the face of skepticism. Ready for any raised eyebrows, he's here to share because, sometimes, wisdom is found in unexpected places. Back in 1991, he was an 18-year-old with no worries. The only concern then was whether the Soviets would continue their saber-rattling. Captain of the high school football team, dating his future wife, and with multiple schools recruiting him, he knew what he wanted to be. A full scholarship was a delightful thought, even if his dream of making it to the NFL since his Pee Wee League days never materialized. That year, they were 1 game away from an undefeated season, with everything hinging on this one game. The day before, students wished them luck, as their school had never achieved an undefeated season. Game day was filled with excitement and high intensity, with students chanting, "We're going to crush them," and "Undefeated baby." Despite their confidence, there was always that lingering what if. Avoiding making this story solely about football, the other team was defeated 42-35, and celebrations extended into the early morning hours. The joyous atmosphere persisted for most of the year, with numerous party invitations coming the team's way. On the night of his NDE, an unsettling premonition gripped him, advising, "James, don't go, stay home. You can miss one little party." He wishes he had hated that voice, but at the time, he was a carefree 18-year-old. Informing people about a party near his house, Derek, the co-captain of the team, stood as an imposing figure at 6'5" and 275 pounds. His aggressive behavior, especially when intoxicated, was known to all. Intervening to keep him out of trouble at parties had become a common occurrence, and this night was no exception. Arriving at the party 30 minutes late with his future wife, they were offered substances they should have declined. A commotion near the front door drew his attention, where Derek faced off with a stranger ready for a fight. Despite an inner voice warning him not to get involved, he ignored it and stepped in, attempting to calm Derek. The situation escalated, resulting in a brawl. Although they thought the fight was over, the guy returned with a weapon, shooting both Derek and him. Observing the chaos from a distance, his girlfriend and friend panicked. When paramedics arrived, he felt detached from his body. He overheard their conversation about his gunshot wounds and watched them load him into the ambulance. His spirit was tugged along as the ambulance drove away. Inside the ambulance, suddenly, he observed the paramedics' efforts on what he called his body. The paramedic exclaimed, "Come on, kid, don't you dare die on me," as he radioed the hospital about the 18-year-old male gunshot victim. Watching the body on the gurney convulse and then go limp, he felt his spirit or soul accelerate at the speed of light through a tunnel of clouds brighter than the sun. He thought, this must be what it's like to be sucked up by a tornado, as he continued through the tunnel of light. After passing through the clouds and the blinding light, he began to comprehend the situation. Hearing the most beautiful singing, he floated closer to its source, where he saw him. As soon as he saw him and the angels singing to him, he knew 2 things. First, he was dead. Second, he wanted to stay. Enveloped in indescribable feelings of love and peace, he found it impossible to express with our limited vocabulary. Picture the greatest joy you've ever felt, multiply it 1 billion times, and you still wouldn't come close. In a state of pure awe, he floated as Jesus approached. Jesus wore a long robe, brown sandals, greenish eyes with a bluish tint to his pupils, curly hair, and a neatly trimmed mustache and beard. With a religious background, he recognized the inadequacy of depictions on earth compared to the real Jesus. The closest representation he encountered was in 2016, 25 years after his experience, titled Prince of Peace. Lost in thought, he was abruptly startled when Jesus spoke directly into his head. "Hello, James," Jesus said, as if they had been friends for eternity. His words echoed in his head, giving the sensation of being scanned. "No, my son, you are not dead. You are in between." "In between," he mumbled. "Yes, my son, your spirit is at a crossroads." It has not chosen to return home, as there are things anchoring you to your earthly life. He knew what tethered him, but the desire to stay was overwhelming. What happens if I choose to stay? He silently asked. If you stay, you will come to live with me and my Father in heaven. And what if I decide to go back? He wondered. With a smile, Jesus responded, You will bring great happiness to many, especially those who have not been born yet. As he spoke, 3 children suddenly appeared, addressing him as their father. Faced with the sight of his future kids calling him Dad, the choice became clear. He communicated his decision to Jesus. Very well, my son, Jesus replied, but there is something else I must show you before sending you back. Earth is undergoing significant changes, and you need to be aware of what lies ahead. Without delay, a review of his life began. Moments of pride and regret, the pain he caused, heartbreak inflicted on others, and the haunting memory of hurtful words spoken to his mom were vivid. Throughout this life review, Jesus neither judged nor chastised him. After the review, he witnessed his future and Earth's future. Due to his injuries, he would lose his college scholarship, eventually attending a trade school to learn welding. His girlfriend would go to college in another state, leading to a temporary separation, but they would later reconnect, get married, and have the children who had appeared beside him and Jesus. Many other personal details were revealed to him, which he preferred to keep private for now. Unfortunately, he wasn't shown any lottery numbers or such. Jesus also revealed Earth's future, including the fall of the Soviet Union, terror attacks within the United States, and the eruption of World War III, which starts with the reunification of the 2 Koreas, triggering global chaos. The extent of the catastrophe remained uncertain. Inquiring of Jesus the reason for the visions, he received a clear response: because you need to know what lies ahead upon your return. Back in the ambulance and within his own body, before he could reconsider, the paramedic had just administered a defibrillator, leaving him with the taste of blood in his mouth and intense pain from his wounds. Welcome back, kid. Don't try to speak or move. We're almost at the hospital. Upon arrival, a team of trauma surgeons, marveling at his survival, promptly attended to him. Recovery was a gradual process, and during this period, he witnessed the collapse of the Soviet Union, mirroring Jesus' earlier revelations. His future unfolded with challenges, encompassing the loss of his scholarship, reconciliation with his girlfriend, and the eventual arrival of their children. The tragic events of the 2001 terror attacks brought them closer, and he persisted in seeking personal growth and reconciling with those he had wronged. Despite these experiences, he still grappled with the purpose behind Jesus revealing the future to him. While forgiveness was sought and granted, some faced the consequences of their actions, with one individual serving time in prison. As the years advanced, his bond with his wife thrived, and he held on to the hope of returning to that celestial light. Sharing his story after 31 years brought relief and hope, instilling in him the belief that a better place awaits everyone, guided by a vigilant Heavenly Father.